everyone, thank you so much for joining us on the CraftStash channel. Now today we're going to show you how to easily create stencils and masks using your Cricut Joy machine. It's so quick and simple. These are likely to be reusable stencils depending on the materials you'll use, and I will go through a number of different materials that you can be using, so you may well have some of these laying around at home already, and we can even get recycling. Now please don't forget to like, subscribe and share with all your crafty friends. So let's get started with the tutorial. Let's get started with materials first of all. Now I'm going to be using a very thin acetate. This is just a craft acetate. The thinner the better ideally. You want something that has got a surface that's not going to absorb ink and things that you're likely to be stenciling through if you want it to be reusable. Now another option for you is the Cricut stencil film. This is a really popular transparent film. Ideally you want something that's going to be transparent so you can see whereabouts you're putting it on your craft project. Another alternative, of course, if you like to recycle, is to use some very thin plastic packaging. Have an experiment with what you've got laying around at home. You can use cardstock, but of course that's not going to be reusable. Once you've inked it a few times, the ink's going to go into the cardstock and you're not going to be able to use that anymore. But you can also use repositionable vinyl as well. So I've just placed my chosen stencil material, which is my very thin acetate, onto my Cricut Joy mat, and this is just the standard grip mat. Nothing special needed here. That grips really, really well, just like cardstock. And I'm going to be using a beautiful leaves SVG that I downloaded from CraftStash. So to create my stencil, I placed a rectangle from the shapes selection into my canvas, and rather than having this as a cutting line, I changed this to guide. This means that won't cut, it's just a guide for you on your canvas so you know what size your card base is going to be. Then I placed my leaves and I copied and pasted, or you can duplicate these as many times as wanted, and I just rearranged them until I was happy with the pattern, placing them over my guide so I can see whereabouts they will work on my card. When I'm happy with all of this, I made sure that I grouped them all together, and then I also attached them down in the bottom right hand corner. That's just going to ensure that when you send these to cut, they remain in that shape. So then I went to make it. So while this is cutting, it's a really good time for me to remind you that CraftStash, both the US and the UK site, have a fantastic range of cutting machines, tools and materials. We also have our VIP club, which in the UK is $9.99 a year and in the US $14.99, and this is going to offer you 10% off of all of your purchases, double points and priority dispatch from our warehouse, as well as lots of other benefits. Now don't forget to check out on YouTube our fantastic Cricut series also, and this is going to guide you from being a complete beginner to unboxing and setting up your Cricut Joy machine to also some complex makes. So now my machine's finished cutting, I'm just very carefully going to remove the acetate from the Cricut mat. I'm going to be gentle because I did use a very thin acetate here, and again, if you use stencil film, you'll want to be gentle as well. So just gently tease around all of the leaves you've got there. Now the download I use, as I said, is from CraftStash. There's a huge range of SVG and PNG files available for you to use with your Cricut Joy, and that's either by cutting or drawing them. So go and check those out, and they're from as little as 99p. And don't forget, of course, it may be that your waste that's left on your mat, you might be able to use that as little stencils in another craft project another time. Now the next thing that I do with all of my stencils, and this is completely optional but definitely I think worthwhile, is to just apply repositionable spray glue to one side of your stencil. Place it on a piece of paper and make sure that everything's where it should be. All the smaller, finer pieces are in the correct place, and then just give it a light spritz, making sure not to capture anything else on your craft desk. Do make sure this is a repositionable adhesive though. Now on my card base, I've added a masked off area with some low tack tape that I've also just popped onto my fluffy jumper here, just to add some extra fluff because the tape's new. I don't want it peeling off my cardstock. And now I can place my homemade stencil onto my card. Now I'm just going to move it around a little bit, and this is why we used repositionable glue earlier, spray glue on the stencil just to make sure that I can move that about. And now it's time to get inking. I've chosen to go with 2 different colours for my inking so I can get an ombre look. I'm going to work a nice bright green, and this is the peeled paint Distress Oxide, into the ends of the leaves here. And then I'm going to work peacock feathers, which is a lovely teal colour, into the bases of them. Being very careful, of course, with the smaller areas on a stencil. And now we can remove our stencil carefully to reveal our beautiful design. There we go, look how perfect is that. And we can also remove the tape from the outside of the card. So that's how you can quickly and easily create your own stencils and masks at home with any design you desire using your Cricut Joy machine, or of course any other cutting machine that you have. Don't forget to check out those SVG downloads available at CraftStash, and let us know in the comments if you found this video helpful. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe for more. CraftStash is the ultimate destination for card making and digital crafting supplies, and guess what? We've got the best price guarantee on both our UK and US websites. Join our VIP club to unlock exclusive benefits and savings on every order, and check out the description below for all the links.